Hello YouTube, I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and on this channel we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. I look very red. I don't know why, but I guess the color of my face doesn't necessarily impact the quality of the answer, so we will soldier ahead. A question from YouTube user TA, who asks us, "Hello, Vince. I recently explained my case to a potential attorney with all the details of how my workplace harassed and degraded me for 3 months before firing me, and potential attorney said, I'm not going to represent you because I don't usually take cases that have that much going on. Can you give me some insight about what that means? Because I don't understand how a case would be more attractive to an attorney if there's less evidence." Okay, so TA, I don't know you. I don't know anything about your case. So I have to guess. And I'm guessing not things that I believe to be true about you, but I'm trying to provide you answers to what generally I would think an attorney might cause an attorney to say that to you. A lot of these guesses are unflattering to you. That is not because I want to insult you. It's also not because I think these things are true about you or about your case. I'm giving you these answers because you asked a general question with limited information, and most of the answers to that general question are a little bit unflattering to the potential plaintiff. Because if you think about it, a good case with a good plaintiff, attorneys would probably just take that. They'd be excited. They'd be pumped. That's how we make money, right? So, TA, there's no way for me to answer this question without risking annoying you. But please know that is not my goal. I'm sure you're wonderful and lovely, and I'm sure your case is great, but I have to explore some options. I also have to itch my foot. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, I wish Kanye would design shoes that would let you itch your foot easier. Kanye, could you get your mental illness under control and get back to working on my shoes? Thank you. And be less hateful while you're at it. Okay. Now that we've spoken directly to Kanye, let's move on and answer the question. Okay, so first and foremost, let's touch upon a piece of the question here that gives me some concern. I'll read it. "I recently explained my case to a potential attorney with all the details of how my workplace harassed and degraded me for 3 months before firing me." Harassed and degraded is a red flag for employment attorneys, because you're not saying sexually harassed. You're not saying discriminated. You're not saying failed to pay me wages. You're not saying failed to pay me wages and benefits. You're not saying retaliated against me. Like, you're using the language of not a case. Doesn't mean you don't have a case. Many potential plaintiffs with many wonderful claims don't know the magic words. Why we have a playlist on this channel about packaging your case up to make it more appealing to an employment attorney. I think it's the Find an Attorney playlist on this channel. But I will tell you right off the bat that not all attorneys keep listening after you use red flag language, right? Like, if you use the magic words for not a claim, which you do here, a lot of attorneys stop listening and start trying to get you off the phone. This is especially true for attorneys who do their own intake without some kind of call center or filter between them, right? So smaller firms, bigger firms tend to have a call center, right? Like, we have a call center that operates 24/7, and that's the first filter, right? Like, if you get on the phone with the call center and you're abusive, or you're like, yeah, I know you guys do employment law, but I got a question about, like, real estate. Right? They filter out a lot of that nonsense. Our second filter is intake professionals. So they take what the call center gives them. They discard a bunch of people who talk about, like, Why can't I buy an elephant in Texas? We don't know. And also, we don't care. Call someone else. Not what we do, right? And then our intake professionals, once they discard a good percentage of the claims, percentage of the calls, the calls that are very clearly not something we deal with, or someone who is aggressive or hateful or a variety of things that can happen to disqualify you, that the intake professionals are like, we're good. We don't want to talk to you anymore. They discard all of those, right? And then the intake professionals will reach out and they'll talk to people about the remaining people about their actual potential claims. And out of every 20, I think, that they talk to, they'll schedule like one of those with an attorney. Now, our intake professionals are under strict orders. Listen, just because somebody used not a claim language, if they're talking about an employment claim, still call them and talk about it, because the average plaintiff has not been through like a course on how to give voice to what was done to them in a way that will appeal to an attorney, right? That's not really your job. The only person whose job that really should be is our job, because this is how we make money. We should figure out how to listen in a way that lets us get past people lets us like really hear people who don't know the magic words of our industry, right? So that's our job. Our intake professionals reach out. Do you know how hard it is to keep a trained intake professional? The way intake professionals are treated by potential clients, if you read the transcripts or you listen to the recordings, is one of the most horrific, disgusting, like the way, because people are in bad moments when they call us. They've been often, generally, terminated, and they're upset. And they've gotten a call center, and often they're frustrated by that, and then an intake professional reaches out to have a conversation, and you get some pretty wild conversations. You get people who pretend the intake professional is a robot. Are you a robot? No. You can tell I'm not a robot because we're having a conversation. Well, I think you just might be an AI. Okay, I swear to you I'm not. Do you want to tell me about your claims, or like, do you want to end this call? Well, you're going to have to prove you're not an AI. You sound like a robot to me. You can barely speak English. The fuck did you just say to me? Like, right? Like, I mean, I've seen that in transcripts for people who are native-born English speakers, who have a better command of the English language than I do, frankly, right? Like, it doesn't, like, incredible rudeness, swearing, aggression, like, just horrible, horrible things. You would help me if I was a insert racial slur. You only care about those effing whores. It's crazy. People say horrible things to our intake professionals. And I suspect that's true for everyone who does intake in this field. Like, there's a lot of people in a lot of bad places who call employment attorneys. Bad places emotionally, right? I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying they do bad things to our intake professionals. Now imagine a small firm where the attorneys have neither call center nor intake professionals, and they're answering the phone themselves. The wear and tear on that attorney, who already, if we're being honest, fights about hate crimes and sex crimes essentially all day long for a living, right? If they're an employment attorney, that's what they do. And that's some wear and tear on your soul. It's gonna leave a mark on your personality. And they do that all day. That they have to do that to eat. It's how they eat. So they put a roof over their head. And then on top of that, they got to pick up the phone to see if somebody has a potential another case, because the new cases that come in are how they continue to eat. They can't just help their current clients. They must also get on the phone. They must interrupt their work, helping their actual clients, and listen to people who might be their future clients. And some of these future clients are monsters or mentally ill, dealing with serious disability. aggression, rage, panic. Like you can confront any number of things in a potential client call. And these attorneys do it all. They fight the case. They do the discovery. They do the drafting. They do the long form arguments. They do the oral argument. They pick up the phone. They hear the potential. They take the abuse. And they got to take the abuse because you can't just hang up. Because when you just hang up, oftentimes people will file grievances. And in certain states, if you hang up on a potential, the State Bar Association will be like, well, that's rude. They told me they were going to wear my skin. Ethics board. Well, you can't just be hanging up on people. You're an attorney. What? What? Is that really an argument you're making? Okay. I mean, I'm not going to lose my license, so I guess I, as the attorney in this scenario, have to just sit on the phone and take the abuse until I can get the person off? Which is all a very long-winded way of saying, when you use this language, this red flag language of not a claim, I was harassed and degraded. Was it sexual harassment? Was it discrimination? Was it an unpaid wage? You're not giving voice to a claim, but that attorney is going to be less likely to hear you out. That's the first thing that could have happened here. The second thing that could have happened, you might just not have a claim. And that attorney was trying to not make you angry and get you off the phone. Again, as I stressed at the beginning of this video, I'm not saying that you don't have a claim. I don't know anything about your case at all. But there's a lot of attorneys out there who don't want to say, hey, this doesn't sound like a claim we can work with. Peace out. I'll be a little bit more direct, right? If somebody gets through our 2 layers of filters and they're talking to me and the case sounds bad, I'll be like, all right, so here's the deal. I'm not going to bet on you, and here's why. I think you're going to make a terrible witness. Your story doesn't really hold together. You've already given me 2 versions in a 20-minute phone call of your story, and that concerns me because those 2 versions can't be true. Or your version of the law doesn't make sense. In my mind, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I'm not comfortable making this argument. There's a lot of things, right? And I'll just say it because I'm emotionally stunted. And when people like tell me they want to murder me in the street, yeah, I get it. I don't even know you're wrong. Maybe you're right. Maybe someone should. Right? Like, it just doesn't really... But a normal human being might exit that phone call and they might be breathing ragged. Their pulse might be elevated. They didn't get punched in the face for $25 an hour for a decade to get through law school. So in context, this conflict might seem kind of jarring. And it's hard for them to go back to work now. So a lot of them try to sidestep conflict with potential clients. Try to just get you off the phone, right? I think that doesn't serve potentials very well, but I do see why the attorneys do it. So that's the second thing that could have happened here. This person just was like, listen, lots going on here. Case is too complex for me. Not going to make you an offer. Could have been bullshit. Just be like, maybe they're just sitting there like, yeah, this case is trash. This person isn't even making a viable claim or giving voice to a claim. Like, I'm not going to make an offer here. Obviously, it's a possibility. Again, not saying this would happen. Just throwing out all the possibilities. Third option. You talked for 45 minutes, and the attorney, like, in the back of her or his head said, there might be a claim here, but I cannot get this person to talk about it. And this person's talking for 45 minutes, wasting my time, and I keep trying to redirect them towards what I think is the actual claim, but they will not talk about it. I got to get this person off the phone. I mean, this is going nowhere, and I can't. How am I going to represent somebody, especially a small firm? Again, how am I going to represent somebody who won't give me the answers I need and won't be directed in a conversation? I'm going to pour hundreds of hours in this case, and this person might not listen to me because they're not listening to me right now, And then I'll lose all those hours and all that money that I put in this case, and I'll get nothing. It's a reality, right? Like, if you're not willing to have like an interactive conversation, and many people are not. Many people want to tell you how they've been harmed, right? And a lot of times the employment attorney is like, okay, yeah, you have been through a lot, and I'm really sorry, but I do have to hear about the actual claim, so I'm going to ask you some questions. And I will tell you that a lot of human beings say, no. I told you what I told you. Take it or leave it. That is a strange behavior that comes up more often than you would expect. There's also people who will yes you. Just like, hey, listen, you're saying a lot of things, but I got to stop you. None of these things are relevant. I do, 10 minutes ago, think I heard a thing that could be a claim. Let me ask you about that. And the potential client will say, sure, yeah, go ahead. And you will ask your question. And they will talk about something completely unrelated. That's very common. And you'll try again and again and again. And every single time, they will not listen to your question. They will not answer your question. And they will talk about what makes them feel emotionally good. Because they're in a bad place. They've been through a lot. And any ability to relieve that emotional pressure feels great. Problem with that, there's going to be a lot of emotional pressure and a lot of suffering over the course of the case. Cases are hard. They're really hard on plaintiffs. And if you won't talk about your case and can't be redirected because you're in such a bad place, there's a good chance that attorney cannot help you. Like, I have had conversations with people like, listen, I think you have a great claim, but you are not listening to me. Like, you need to try to listen to me. We need to have a two-person interactive conversation if there's any hope of us being able to help you. And they will say, that makes sense. I say, great. Tell me where he touched you. Not trying to be funny, like that's the thing that comes up in some of these cases. And that person will say, well, back on Mount, I don't know, Kilimanjaro, I went to see the panther in the ice. It's frozen, just like Hemingway said. What are you talking about? What? No. I asked you a specific question. Answer the question. Okay. So I did run for office in Pennsylvania this one time. What? That's not related in any way. What? It's because I worked on a campaign. No, stop. Tell me about this job and tell me where this man did bad things to you. Okay. So my mom always said, no. Your mama didn't work at this job, so your mama doesn't enter this conversation. You need to stop. I'm going to boop you. Tell me where he touched you. Listen, if you're going to be rude, I'm not going to... Okay, get off the phone. Just get off the phone. I can't, you got to answer the questions, right? Again, TA, I don't know if he did that. Now, there's also some things you could say that are red flags. A lot of people will call up an employment attorney and have a great case. And then they'll say something like, and by the way, they turned the FBI on me. The NSA is bugging my phone. Now, we live in a country where that's not a crazy thing to say. But it's not a crazy thing to say because the NSA is listening to everyone's phone. Everyone. So you're not really special. Probably not, right? So when you engage in paranoid ideation like that, it's not that I think you're wrong. It's more along the lines of that's not interesting because they're doing that to all of us. And you weren't working for the feds, and you weren't engaged in international espionage or whatever. This is just a case about a workplace dispute. So yeah, they are absolutely listening to your phone. They're probably not giving that information to your employer. Probably not. But now I'm worried that you're dealing with a mental illness that has paranoia as a symptom. And that's tough. Now, as employment attorneys, we have to try to accommodate that. But there's a lot of attorneys who don't want to because they know paranoid ideation has a tendency to get pointed at anyone who tells you anything you don't like. And often, employment attorneys have to tell you things you don't like. Like, hey, stop telling the judge about the NSA tapping your phone. That's not part of your case. It's good advice. It's good advice. You got to give that advice to your client. It's going to sink the case. Client keeps going. Here's the problem. Many people suffering from paranoia conditions would then say, oh, you're trying to keep the phone tapping quiet, huh? You're against me too. They got to you. And now you've got yourself 20, 40 grand deep in a case with someone who thinks you've been bribed or joined the Illuminati or turned by the NSA or the FBI, whoever it is, the Ruskies, right? And they don't trust you anymore, even though you've done nothing wrong. Welcome to the nightmare. No one gets out. Like this is now this next 6 months of your life. You got to keep trying to help this person. You got to keep doing everything right. And this person hates you, doesn't trust you, might wish you ill. Because they're suffering from a medical condition with paranoia as a symptom. You can't just say you're not going to help those people because it's a serious medical condition and you got to try to help them anyways. You got to try to accommodate them. Although, in fairness, you do have to have a confidence level in those claims, right? If somebody's suffering from paranoia and they're having trouble grappling with reality, you're probably going to need to verify those claims because you are going to hurt a lot of people if you are running with fake claims. And the thing is, as somebody who grew up with a schizophrenic parent, they believe it. So they're not lying. The problem is, because you know they're not lying, doesn't mean you know what they're saying is true. It's a tough position to be in. So you got to try to independently verify these claims, which, frankly, if that was easy to do, our job would be a lot easier, right? Like, so this is a very difficult position. And you can see why attorneys want out as soon as possible. So a great way to sidestep would be to say, whoa, too much going on here, I'm out. Not saying the attorney did that. Not saying you're suffering from any of those conditions. Again, I don't know anything about you, your claim. But what I'm seeing here is an attorney who's trying to sidestep. That's my read of your version, your retelling of this story. This attorney's trying to get out without saying why. Also, your last parting question, I mean, let's read it in the record again. I don't understand how a case would be more attractive to an attorney if there's less evidence. You seem very intelligent. You may have a really good grasp of what is and is not evidence. But I'll tell you this. Most people who call me don't have the first clue. Like, they generally know that it's good to have a video of something happening. But often, you'll have strange conversations where they, like, think a video of a mockingjay, like, flying around is proof of a complex series of data-driven disparate treatments. You're just like, I might not be following what you're saying. Can you explain that to me? And they will tell you, like, well, you might be stupid because it's obvious. Okay, sure, maybe I might be too stupid to represent you, right? Like, you should probably get an attorney you think is intelligent, right? Because that person doesn't understand what is and is not good evidence or the value of evidence. Like, there's a hierarchy. Different pieces of evidence are of different value, different usefulness, different levels of reduction of risk or increasing the value. Like, not all evidence is created equal. It is rather rapidly striated on the way up. So you're like, why does this attorney not want my evidence? We, as people reading your question, have no idea how good your grasp of evidence is. It could be that you are a talented litigation attorney who has taken multiple courses and seminars on evidence and has a well thought out tactical mind with hundreds of repetitions in evaluating and utilizing evidence. Tremendous. The best, right? It could also be that you're trying to pass off a video of Mockingjay as the best evidence in the world, which obviously I'm being silly. And I'm not, again, not saying this is true of you in any way, but I am saying it happens very commonly. And there's a spectrum between the best attorney and the worst understanding of evidence ever, right? And there's no correlation, right? Like I've met 4-year-olds who are like, you can tell that she stole the thing because like the footprints match her shoes. Great evidence. Well done, 4-year-old. You know, and I've met adults with PhDs who are like, well, drives a Porsche, so you know she's a Nazi. That's the basis of my case. What? What are you talking about? Like what? Like what? Right? And that's something that could have happened here. I'm not saying it did, TA. I'm not saying it did. And this is going to sound like a very negative take on all this. I guess it is. But it's not my intent. My intent is more like, hey, maybe before you talk to the next attorney, you should watch our Find an Employment Attorney playlist that can help you make your pitch more appealing for local counsel, right? That might be useful. And you can go over this video and look at some of the pitfalls that I listed, and you could say, okay, none of these apply to me. Awesome. I am glad. It still doesn't mean you couldn't use that playlist to polish things up and make it a little more appealing. Like, for whatever reason, this attorney heard you out, it sounds like, and then said, no thanks. And we don't know why. We're guessing. We've been guessing now for almost 30 minutes. I guess this we is a stretch. It's me. I've been guessing, right? And I'm guessing to give you an idea of the hundreds of thousands, near infinite things limited only by human imagination that can go wrong in a consultation call. And I'm doing that to potentially direct you towards polishing up the pitch, right? You can do a tight 5 minutes on why you got a great claim. Well, that's the best way you're ever gonna pitch a case. Even the busiest, saddest, most overburdened attorney is gonna hear your snappy presentation, succinct, tight, just really, really sharing what you went through, and that attorney's gonna say, "You are the next client. You're the money for next year. I should help you, and in helping you, I will help myself." And you both win. And I'm over here being happy because I want you to win, right? And I want you to hire local counsel because they're cheaper. So, you know, I hope this is helpful. I hope this provides you some context, some way to think about what went on there. I obviously don't know. I wasn't part of that conversation. I don't know what you said. I don't know your claims. I don't know you. I don't know this attorney. It's all just possible. Listen, that attorney might have ate something bad for lunch and might have desperately needed to use the restroom. And just was like, I don't know. I can't listen anymore. Not for me. Too complex. Get off the phone. Gotta go. And then like hung up on you and ran to the restroom because they ate bad shrimp. Is that fair to you? No. Neither fair nor right. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Right? So don't be discouraged, but do be more compelling if you can. And you may have been very compelling, right? Again, I wasn't there. You may have been the greatest orator since Moses. I don't know. Was he a good? I was reaching. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like you could have been the sun, the moon, and stars of compelling speech. Very well. And this attorney might just have been having a bad day. let's not ignore the fact that attorneys are very fallible. The attorney might have just been an idiot. The attorney might have been having a bad day. The attorney might be suffering from any number of emotional conditions or mental conditions. The attorney might be in physical pain, right? I mean, there was a time where I had severe radiation burns on the inside of my throat, and I still had to do consult calls. I had stage 4 cancer at the time, and I couldn't really tell people that I had stage 4 cancer. When I did those consult calls, I put my all into them. But it was tough. I think I did right by those people. But I suspect when somebody got froggy with me on the phone, I may not have been as caring and understanding during that period of my life than I might be today. Because I was in a lot of pain. And I was pretty afraid that I might die. Because my doctor had told me I had a 50-50 chance to live. She was a fantastic doctor, and I still think she is the greatest doctor. But that's a tough conversation. And I had to work every day. And at lunch, I would go get chemo and radiation. And I probably wasn't my best self. And let's be honest, if I sleep 4 hours, just have a bad night's sleep tomorrow, and you call me up the next day with a potential case and you raise your voice to me, well, I'm probably not going to be sweet as pecan pie. Probably not. A little cranky when I get tired. I also am guilty of getting hangry. Like, employment attorneys are human. They're fallible. So fallible. Among the most fallible of humans in many ways. Like, me especially, right? So, hopefully everybody's getting up and trying real hard to help the people. That's why you get in this industry, theoretically, right? Even if you're a monster, you can only get into plaintiff-side employment law if you want to help. Because, again, even if you're a monster, helping is the only path to making money. You must help the people to win the money so you can take a piece. Right? So, ideally, everyone's coming in and helping as much as they can, doing what they can. Let's be honest. Many of you have described stories of attorneys falling short of that goal when you call them with consultations and questions, right? So, that's also like a tremendous possibility, which is why you play the numbers game, which is why I always recommend you got to talk to at least 3 to 5 potential attorneys, and probably more if you can, right? I get it, we're all busy, but like this is a huge decision in your life. Talk to more. Be fully informed. Compare, contrast. Talk to each and every one, even the last. Okay, it's 33 minutes. I gotta stop. CA, I hope this is helpful. I hope you heard out the whole video and understand that none of these things are things I'm accusing you of. Generally, this video is a pitch to tighten up your pitch, right? And hopefully that playlist we made helps you do that. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Helps the channel to grow. Remember, not everybody wins. No. I mean, yes, not everybody wins. Very much not everybody wins. Not everybody works. Am I messing up my own catchphrase here? Everybody works. Not everybody wins. So be smart out there. Good Lord. See? How fallible. How fallible. Take care, everybody.